The earth abides. I'm hiking in Bear Canyon, and I'm thinking about Thomas M. Disch. About a year ago, I read a book by him, The Genocides. It was the first novel that I read by Thomas M. Disch. This year, I'm reading a book of critique, a book of essays called The Dreams Our Stuff Is Made Of. 1997. The Dreams Our Stuff Is Made Of is a Locus Award winner and a Hugo Award winner. There are 10 chapters. I'm just going to go briefly over the topics for each of those chapters. From the introduction, there used to be a truism. I heard it first from my then agent Terry Carr in 1964, that the golden age of science fiction is 12, the age we begin to read SF and are wonderstruck. That truism is no longer true, for science fiction has come to permeate our culture to such a degree that its basic repertory of images, rocket ships and robots, aliens and dinosaurs, are standard items in the fantasy life of any preschooler. As for the 12-year-olds of our own era, nothing science fictional is alien to them. Admittedly, theirs is not the science fiction of the printed page, for today's 12-year-olds have been warped away from the Gutenberg galaxy. Instead of graduating from comic books to pulp magazines as Terry and I did, the brighter children of the 1990s transfer their attention from the TV screen to the computer monitor as they mature. In both media, it is increasingly difficult to distinguish between science fiction and assorted neighboring realities. The dinosaurs in the movies look as real as elephants or camels. Toddlers' toys morph into weapons. Grown-ups on talk shows discuss their UFO abductions, while on the next channel a dull documentary recounts the history of space exploration. One has to be sent to school to begin to sort out what's real and what's Hollywood. Chapter 1. The Right to Lie. America is a nation of liars, and for that reason science fiction has a special claim to be our national literature, as the art form best adapted to telling the lies we like to hear and to pretend we believe. Disch is laying out the groundwork for his argument throughout this book. And it leads us to Chapter 2, Edgar Allan Poe, our embarrassing ancestor. Poe is the source. Many others have been claimed as SF's essential ancestor, beginning with the nameless author of The Legend of Gilgamesh, the first Superman. As well make the same claim for Jay, who wrote Noah and the Flood, of Nimrod and the Tower of Babel, themes that will appear in many SF updates. But if myths and legends are to be credited as SF, then half of the world literature before the novel must be accounted ancestral to SF. He goes on to argue that Edgar Allan Poe is truly the father of the genre, and an embarrassing father at that. Chapter 3. From the Earth to the Moon in 101 Years. Although the honor or disgrace of being SF's primary ancestor is a debate that can never be settled finally, there can be no question that the rocket ship is the genre's primary icon. This is a very fun chapter, but as we get into the reality of space travel, there is some controversy. Chapter 4. How SF Defused the Bomb. On the day Hiroshima was bombed, August 6, 1945, I was 5 years old. I have no memory of the event or indeed of anything else connected with World War II. In the grade schools I attended from 1946 through 1953, there must have been civil defense exercises of the sort depicted in the archival footage of the 1982 documentary The Atomic Cafe, in which Bert the Turtle advises school children about to be bombed to duck and cover, assume a fetal position under their desks. But I don't remember that either. I can remember reading, at age 12, Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles, a collection that includes his 1950 nuclear parable, There Will Come Soft Rains. This is a very interesting story that tells about an automated house without any humans left in it. Did 1950 science fiction act as a cautionary tale, or did it just sort of mute our concern for the atomic bomb? Chapter 5. Star Trek, or the Future as a Lifestyle. Television and science fiction, though they've lived a long time together, have not enjoyed a happy relationship. Television, the dominant and more affluent partner, has been blithely unaware of this fact, which is often the way in such cases. Science fiction, on the other hand, has felt well used. Does media soften and homogenize science fiction? Chapter 6. Can Girls Play Too? Feminizing SF. It talks about some of the early women writers in science fiction, such as C.L. Moore and Judith Merrill, but often they use male pseudonyms. But then we get to Ursula K. Le Guin, Joanna Russ, and others. You might be surprised that Disch is quite critical of Le Guin. Chapter 7. When You Wish Upon a Star, SF, as a Religion. And of course, you can't go there without thinking about L. Ron Hubbard. Chapter 8. Republicans on Mars, SF as Military Strategy. Politics and the military are a dominant force within SF writing. I think sometimes of two authors who may be considered the yin and yang of libertarianism, Robert A. Heinlein and Ursula K. Le Guin. Both have utopias based in libertarianism, but they're very different utopias. Chapter 9. The Third World and Other Alien Nations. Are aliens simply a metaphor for the aliens among us? Chapter 10. The Future of an Illusion. SF Beyond the Year 2000. This book was written in 1997. In this chapter, he talks about the success of the science fiction movie, how it's taken over Hollywood. It could also be argued that it's taken over television. What used to be a hidden genre, a genre that could have B movies because it was very difficult to do special effects, has now become the main course for the demanding public. Special effects have reached a point where anything is possible in film. But Disch also looks at what this glut of media science fiction has done to the written genre. I give this fabulous collection of thoughts and critiques 8 out of 10. So have you read any nonfiction by Thomas M. Disch? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep hiking and keep reading.